everyone, I'm MK Glidewell, clinical herbalist and licensed massage therapist, and welcome to AHG's Plant Talks. This is my yard. I live in an HOA here in Ruskin, Florida, and I am a clinical herbalist. So I try and grow a lot of my herbs, a lot of my plants. But one thing that I don't do is I don't really garden. I'm not a green thumb. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I know the plants. I'm familiar with the plants. I sit with the plants. I speak with the plants. I harvest and grow, but I don't necessarily propagate so much. Occasionally I'll go places and get things and plant them in my yard and see how they do. But mostly, most of my plants that grow in my yard are bioregionally available. So meaning that they're within a 5-mile radius of my house and they grow here. I can find this giant patch of bitter melon that I have growing here. And you come in on it, you can see how gorgeous it is and how well it's doing. This is not your typical species of bitter melon. This is one we have regional to us here in South Florida, actually Central Florida if we're being specific. And we take this bitter melon and we use it because it's not only bitter, but it's cooling. So indigenously in the Caribbean, they say that it's cooling to the blood. Sugar in the blood is hot. So I typically use it for people who have issues controlling their sugar, their blood sugar. So that's one thing we use here. And this is all self-propagated. This grew from a seed that I had, and I had put it into a tincture, not the seed, I'm sorry, a leaf that I had in, I put it in the tincture, and I took the seed pod and I actually kind of just threw it out. So technically I had a little bit of hand and seed scattering, but this giant patch was out of one single pod of seeds. And it keeps coming back every year. I harvest it and tincture it, and I make it into my beautiful little medicines. I also have some rescues. I do rescue plants as well. I rescued this little banana patch over here. And then if we pan around, we can see that my other plants are pretty much just like your ornamental hedges and whatnot. But I do have little weeds that grow up within there as well. I tend to not harvest from the side of that fence over there. I do let the plants grow because they are pollinators. And so I have a lot of pollinators in my yard. And if you live in an HOA, you'll know that that's pretty awesome because most weeds are sprayed. And I don't harvest along there because I know that my neighbor sprays. So I don't harvest anything from there, but that doesn't stop the pollinators from being able to use my plants that I'm growing or the weeds that I allow to just pop up in my yard to pollinate. So some other species that I'm going to show you that I grow in my yard or that just happen to appear are things like this cranberry hibiscus. The cranberry hibiscus was over there as well. And actually I consider these my mother plants because these ones, they get these seed pods on them and then the wind takes them away because it's very windy in Florida here sometimes. And it takes them away. And this cranberry hibiscus is so prolific that it just pops up all over my yard. And so what I do is I think it's really nice to be able to just pick out the little seedlings and then take them and put them into a pot and give them to friends and family and say, here's something really nice. It's high in vitamin C, but we'll get to that later. If you come with me, you can see that from that mother plant over there, these actually self-propagated and they became a plant. But they came, and this was already harvested, from this giant stick of cranberry hibiscus that I recently just removed from this spot in my yard. So you can see this was very large. It was so massive. It was almost as massive as the bitter melon patch that I have. But what this did is the rain took it. So I took that as like a little weather blessing, harvested it, and made some beautiful teas, beautiful syrups, and some oxymels, and gave it to friends and family. These are my dogs. This is one of them. This is Maggie, and she is a superstar. She wants to be seen. One thing that I really like to do with my dogs, and watch, it's probably not gonna work this time, but Maggie really loves to tend to my garden, and she likes to nibble on things. You'll see I work with animals as well. A lot of animals actually have some dietary issues with their bellies and such. This cranberry hibiscus is cooling and she loves to nibble on it. So she'll come out here if she's having a little upset belly and she'll actually nibble on the cranberry hibiscus with her little teeth and pop the little succulent little leaves off of it and just devour them. They taste a lot like unsweet sweet tarts, I would say. So other things that appear in my garden are things like the beautiful Biden's alba. I'll definitely go into a talk about this later. But this is something that is very prolific in my garden because it is there's over 200 species of Biden's alba, so they're everywhere. People spray for them. They have the beautiful little daisy looking flowers that's seen in the Asteraceae family. And this is a poor example, but it's already gone to flower and it's probably going to go to seed soon, as you can see here. That is actually a good point, which brings me over to here that I like to let my Bidens go to seed because there is so much potential in that little seed right there that actually when I was studying in Scotland last year, I did research and sat with cleaver seeds. And I thought, well, if I sat with cleaver seeds, maybe I should sit with Biden seeds. And something, spirit, universe, God, goddess, whatever you believe in, intuition, told me to start saving the seeds. So what I did is I let this be a beautiful pollinator, and I'll just scatter these right now. Let this be a beautiful pollinator for a long time during our summer. We had so many pollinators come to the yard that I let it all go. And now it's gone to seed. And so now I want to sit with the seed and really kind of discover some different uses that I can get from it. I know the antibacterial properties and viral properties of Biden's alba, but what I really want to focus on is using all parts because I figure that if we can use the leaves and we can use the flowers, we can use the seeds as well. I haven't seen a whole lot of research done on the seeds, so maybe that's something we can discuss, something to open up. Well, we also have some other things that grow. We have some beautiful things called Seta acuta. Maggie really likes Seta as well because Maggie has, she has a condition where she has problems with moisture and she has problems with breathing. She had immune-mediated hemolytic anemia, which means that her iron had dropped really low. And she was having issues maintaining her blood levels and whatnot. So she's gotten over that. And some things that she's had from the treatment for that, which I used integrative medicine with, is she has some issues with dryness in her lungs. She hacks a lot. So, and that can happen with steroids. So what I do is I give her the seeds in her food, and Seta is in the mallow family. So these seeds are cooling. These leaves are cooling and they're moisturizing, and she tends to like it. And the roots have something very interesting in them. It could actually get you arrested for crossing state lines. Did you know that? It's a fact, they have ephedra in the roots. It's a very high concentration of ephedra. And technically speaking, so my teachers tell me from Traditions Herb School, that if I take the root of this herb across state lines, I'm gonna go to jail. Let's do it. No, I'm just kidding, everyone. I really do hope that you've liked my yard, my little tour. I don't use any pesticides or any sprays. I make sure that everything that I harvest is at least 20 feet away from everyone else around me. But it is possible to live in an HOA, to have herbs, to grow them, and to use them for your friends and family. This is MK Glidewell. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MK Glidewell. Thank you so much for joining us for this year's online symposium. I hope you've enjoyed everything that we've put together for you, and have a wonderful, wonderful 2020 AHG online symposium experience. This is MK Glidewell, clinical herbalist, licensed massage therapist, signing out.